So I get a lot of questions from you guys, the viewers, asking me what my favorite Linux distribution is, what my favorite window manager or desktop environment is, what my favorite web browser or text editor or whatever it happens to be. What is your favorite, DT? Many of you guys ask this question, and I can tell you are in search of something, right? It's like if DT tells you XYZ Ubuntu is the best distribution, you guys are going to go install it because it must be the best because DT said so, or DT uses it. You know, he just recently switched to it on his channel. Or, you know, if I use such and such window manager, that must be the best one, right? That's the window manager to end all window managers because DT uses it. Guys, you gotta come make up your own minds on a lot of this stuff. You have to form your own opinions, and you have to use what works for you. What works for me will not work for you most of the time. That's not the way this works. The distro that works for me is not the distro that will work for you, not the distro that works for the next guy. Same thing with window managers and text editors and everything else you could possibly name. So if you see me switch to some new hot distro, XYZ Ubuntu, don't go and format your drives and move to that distribution just because I happen to be living in it and loving it. It may be working for me. Don't expect it to work for you. Same thing with, you guys want to know what the best tiling window manager out there, because I've used a bunch of them. For one thing, I can't answer these questions. The best distribution for me is the one I happen to be in, you know, because I hop a lot and they all work. The same thing with window managers. The best one just happens to be the one I'm on at the moment. I don't really have a favorite or the one that works the best. So when you guys ask me this question, I almost never answer it because I can't answer some of these questions, but I also wonder why you ask these questions. Like if you're looking for a tiling window manager, just try them out. Just try several out. They install in seconds, right? It doesn't take very long to install any of these window managers. The install is just like that. Log out, log back into the new window manager and check it out for yourself. You don't need me to tell you what is going to be the best window manager for you. It's an impossible question for me to answer. I don't know you. I don't know your workflow. I don't know what kind of equipment you run. I don't know anything about you. Another thing is just don't be one of the sheep. You know, don't follow somebody, don't follow me or anybody else, any Linux personality, any YouTube personality. Form your own opinions. Use what works for you. Try different things out. You know, you keep learning. I, like you, follow a lot of people on YouTube. I probably subscribe to at least 100 or so Linux-related YouTube channels, and I respect a lot of other Linux YouTubers out there, really respect a lot of Linux YouTubers out there, but I don't see some of those guys, you know, hopping to a new distro or, you know, to some other new piece of software and say, well, you know what, I really respect that guy. He loves that distro. It must be the best. Let me format my drives and start all over. And, you know, even though I've got what's working for me, you know what, he must be right. You know, don't do that. Don't be one of those people. Make up your own damn mind. And I get a lot of you guys that, you know, will say things like, DT, I hear you talking bad about GNOME. I don't like GNOME, the desktop environment. But you know what, DT? I use GNOME. So, you know, you need to stop talking bad about GNOME because I use it and I love it. Okay, well, I didn't talk bad about you. I just said, your desktop environment that you love, GNOME, is not right for me. And this is what I'm talking about. It's right for you. You know, you have a different kind of workflow. You're a different person than me, right? The stuff that works for me is obviously not going to work for you. The stuff that's working for you is not going to work for me. So my opinions, basically, are worthless. And well, they're not worthless. You know, you guys want to know what works for me, you know, see a lot of these different tools in action, because when I demonstrate them, you usually can tell in my videos, you know what, I see that piece of software, that might be something I could use, and then you'll see me use other stuff, and you'll be like, you know what, that's not for me. So I like demonstrating that stuff, but you guys want to know what I use personally, you know, like, hey, DT, what's better, Vim or Emacs, since I've used both? You know what? Have you tried either one? Have you tried either Vim or Emacs? If you haven't, try one of them. then try the other. Make up your own mind. My opinion on this, again, is not your opinion. And opinions vary. You could ask 100 different people which is the better text editor between Vim and Emacs, and you might get a 50-50 split on that question. Who's right? Who's wrong? Both are right. So when I talk about things that I don't like GNOME and bloated software, proprietary software especially, I just try to stay away from proprietary software at all costs. I'm very much one of those free software kind of guys, the zealots. But just because I'm that way and you're not that way, okay, that's fine. You be you. You do you. I'm going to do me. And that's fine. We are all part of the Linux community, even if we have different ideas about Linux and about what Linux means to us personally. After all, none of us would be here in Linux if we didn't have this fierce individualism, right? We are not part of the herd mentality, right? We follow a different path. We go our own way. And that includes even those of us in Linux, even though we see ourselves as a group. Really, we got here because we are nonconformists. And even though we're all in this nonconformist Linux group, there's a lot of variation between us even. We are not this one monolithic group. I don't pretend to be part of some monolithic group. I don't think Linux or the free and open source community will ever be one monolithic group. I know some people have that utopian vision of it. I don't. I think we can all, again, go our own ways, our own separate ways together. In the end, my opinion on software and your opinion on software and other Linux personalities' opinion on software is just opinions, and they're all perfectly valid. They're all also perfectly invalid, but it doesn't matter. In the end, it doesn't matter. You don't need me to validate your opinions on things, and I don't need you to validate my opinions on things. Again, at the end of the day, use what works for you.